Hello everybody and welcome to New Music Friday. I'm Nathan on Shuffle and today is October 1st, 2021, and I'm here to bring you the latest in progressive rock news. So hopefully there's some items here that will be of interest to you. But before I get started today, I just wanted to bring back to mind that we're doing our 100th episode of Nathan on Shuffle coming up not too long from now. I believe the target date of releasing that would be on October 12th, just so you guys could be aware and prepared for it. And basically, as we've discussed in several videos now, we're kind of wanting to do a bit of a Q&A session, get some questions from you guys, from the subscribers and viewers of my channel, and answer some questions, either music related or otherwise. We're pretty open to answer anything. We'll pick and choose which questions we'd like to address and give a little bit more, maybe some background. Me and Jana's going to be a part of it as well. So should be a fun show, I hope. Just kind of wanted to reset the table of what the channel is and what its mission is. Kind of use it as almost an introduction for new people coming in. And so I kind of wish I could do a community post to kind of get some more questions asked in that form. But I believe YouTube says you have to have 1,000 subscribers, which I'm getting very close to 1,000 subscribers, but not quite there yet. Kind of hoping to reach it by the time of that 100th episode. It might be close. I might just barely miss that goal, but I'm getting there. So I'm really excited and thankful for the support. So I wanted to get that out of the way first. So if you're wanting to give any comments or feedback for that 100th episode, either questions or just ideas for what you'd like to see in the channel and so forth, please leave them in the comments here. I'm going to start, I believe, a Twitter thread. I'll put up the handle for my Twitter and all that. So you can go on Twitter and put in questions and stuff if that's a better format for that. So, just wanted to put that out there so that we have some content and some fun for that 100th episode, which I think is going to be a really fun time. So hopefully you guys will be excited for that. The big news item today, I think, is the big new Yes album was released today, The Quest, which I've been talking about in several shows, and that's kind of the beginning item I wanted to mention, because I know I have a lot of Yes fans on the channel and people who've come in through my Yes reactions with my wife, which have been a lot of fun, and I'm a huge Yes fan, so it's cool to be able to talk about new music by the band. I don't want to delve too far into the topic because I do plan to release a review of The Quest this upcoming week as my album spotlight for the week on Tuesday. So I'm excited to delve deeper into it then, but it is a newsworthy item, so I wanted to mention it here. I've been listening to it. It's a really, really pleasant album. I don't want to give away too much of my thoughts, but I've been enjoying it, and it's a fun release in the progressive world that's getting a lot of attention. And I know there's conflicting thoughts, and I'll get into this in my review as well, of like some people who don't really feel like it's true Yes, or that it's missing some key members, that kind of loses the magic a bit. And there's a lot of people who just don't really appreciate this new iteration of Yes, but I like things for what they are, and so I've been enjoying it, and I'm really excited to delve into the album. Of course, the lineup for the new album is John Davison on vocals, Steve Howe on guitar, Jeff Downs on keyboards, Billy Sherwood on bass, and Alan White on drums. So, some key figures there who've been in the band for quite some time. So it's not like some new fangled configuration of guys that no one has heard of. It's definitely some key guys. And it sounds like Steve Howe was kind of the main driving force of the production, at least, and kind of being the producer behind the album. They wrote these tracks a lot throughout the pandemic and so forth and brought them together here. So it's a cool release. I haven't gotten my physical copy yet. I did order the vinyl, but it's shipping and it should be coming to me next week. But I'm really excited for the band and for what they've accomplished here. And it's cool to get some attention in the prog world, because sometimes some of the prog albums that get released are a little bit not as well known, kind of, don't get much attention. And that's part of my channel, is trying to bring attention to these prog albums that get a little bit, they don't get as much attention from people as they should. So, but this is a big one. Yes is a huge band that everyone knows, even outside of progressive rock. They're just one of the biggest rock bands in general, I'd say, from back in the classic rock era as well. So just a really cool release that I wanted to mention. Another release today that this is a release that's not probably on a lot of people's radar. It's a very minor short EP, but I was enjoying it this morning, so I wanted to mention it briefly. Mariana Semkina and her new EP Disillusioned. Really was enjoying this one. Of course, she's kind of half of the equation of I Am the Morning, along with Gleb Kolyadin, who does piano. She does vocals and is just an incredible musician and vocalist, and really has a lot to offer here. It's more on the kind of acoustic folk kind of side, alternative folk. Together with I Am the Morning, they do kind of a chamber pop kind of thing with some prog influences, some more classical style stuff in the mix, especially with Gleb's piano playing. He's like a classical pianist, with her like heavenly angelic vocals over it. But with her solo, it's more leaning towards the folk category, and her voice is just really beautiful and excellent. There's so many beautiful harmonies, and the arrangements are really beautiful. There's some great, it's kind of a string quartet arrangement. It's really a beautiful album that I think deserves some attention. It's short. It's like 16 minutes long. So, but it's on Bandcamp, and I think it's a Bandcamp Friday where a lot of the money goes to the artists. So I would recommend checking it out on there, or it's available on many streaming platforms. So just a smaller release that I thought deserved some attention, because I love I Am the Morning. They're one of my favorite groups, and to see them be able to branch out and do these great solo works. Gleb Kolyadin also has some fantastic solo material, a self-titled solo that came out a few years ago, and then more of a ambient, atmospheric album that came out, I believe, a few months ago. So really a cool group of artists and really cool stuff going on there. A bit of news that I saw that kind of interested me. I'm not sure how to feel about this, because it's kind of a random assortment of people coming together. This is the new ProgJect. It's almost hard to say, but members of different notable prog bands are coming together to form this kind of superstar prog cover band called ProgJect. It features Saga frontman Michael Sadler, Ryo Okumoto from Spock's Beard, Sound of Context Matt Dorsey, and former Saigon Kickman Jason Bieler. So really interesting, eclectic assortment of people. Of course, what drew my attention mostly to this news was seeing Ryo Okumoto from Spock's Beard being part of it. So he's, of course, one of my favorites. And I do like Michael Sadler as well. Great stuff with Saga. And so it's just an interesting idea that it's also features former Marillion and GTR drummer Jonathan Mover. He put together the superstar group, so don't want to leave him out, of course. So just really interesting, eclectic group of people. It sounds like Jonathan Mover, was kind of inspired by touring with the Musical Box, Genesis tribute band, and he had fun playing these old classic prog rock songs. And so that kind of led him to assemble this ultimate prog experience with these musicians, where they'd cover all sorts of prog music, paying homage to all the greats of prog rock: Genesis, Yes, ELP, King Crimson, along with some Pink Floyd, Rush, Peter Gabriel, UK, Gentle Giant, Jethro Tull, just, every band you could think of from that classic 70s prog era. It sounds like they've come up with a great 2-hour show featuring lots of prog classics: Squonk, Cinema Show, Firth of Fifth, Carnival 9, Siberian Katru, Roundabout, Heart of the Sunrise, 21st Century Schizoid Man, Lark's Tongue and Aspic, Xanadu, La Via Strangiato, Have a Cigar, Salisbury Hill, Living in the Past. Just all these notable prog classics, the type that me and Jana would have on our reaction list. Some really great stuff there. So sounds like they're going to be doing some shows upcoming next year. They haven't put out any dates as far as I know, but they do plan to roll out a tour. Sounds like starting April next year. So a lot of touring news. I've been talking a lot about it this past several weeks, that 2022 seems to be the target time where all these bands are kind of putting forth their efforts towards touring. And so that's promising. Hopefully that all pans out and there'll be some incredible shows coming up. I'm really excited about it. Sounds like they kind of started this back in 2019. That's where they began rehearsals, but of course the pandemic kind of shut down any plans that they had with bringing this forth. But now is the perfect time. So hopefully this is a really cool project, and I'd be interested to see what they do with these classic prog covers. So should be a lot of fun. Talking about touring news, I kind of wanted to mention briefly as well. Dream Theater is postponing their upcoming tour into 2022. Neil Morse Band did this recently. Sounds like it's kind of what a lot of bands are doing, pushing forward to 2022 because things are a little bit uncertain at the moment, at least, in the U.S. here. Can't speak to the world at large. It's different in different areas. But it sounds like for a lot of U.S. states, that's kind of where a lot of things are headed, is into 2022. So, of course, I love Dream Theater. They're great live. They're supporting a new album that's coming out in October. Hopefully the album release isn't affected. So far, it doesn't seem to be. So, A View from the Top of the World seems to be still on target for October 22nd as a release, which I'll definitely be talking about on the channel. We'll see how that pans out. It's a tour I was considering going. I wasn't sure yet. I always kind of waffle about if I should go or not because of different issues, but I may consider it for these rescheduled dates. I think that might be a better timing for me to attend. So we'll see. They haven't released the rescheduled dates as far as I've seen, but hopefully they will soon, so we can kind of plan out and see where things are going with that. So should be kind of fun. Of course, a lot of tours are ongoing, mostly I think in Europe and other areas. Like the Genesis one that I've mentioned is moving full steam ahead and is getting a lot of praise and attention, and Steve Hackett is doing a lot of touring right now as well. So there's definitely touring going on and little concerts and things popping up here and there, but it's a little bit sporadic until maybe we stabilize, at least here in the States, is like I was saying. So now I want to kind of highlight some upcoming releases that are interesting to me that I don't feel are getting much attention, that are perhaps a little bit more obscure, but I kind of wanted to talk about this like Unitopia family. There's a band called Unitopia that were pretty popular, I think, back in the 2000s era, perhaps. I came across them kind of in the later 2000s with The Garden was a great album that they came out with, a big double album that was a notable one in the prog sphere, at least in my prog sphere of influence. And so it made me a fan of the band, and I appreciated their next release, Artificial, as well. But just as I was kind of getting excited and into the groove of liking this band and considering them a new favorite, they disbanded, and it was kind of an unfortunate thing. And they kind of went off in separate ways to create different projects from there. The two kind of main people of the group are Sean Timms and Mark Truiak. And so they kind of split off and did their own projects. Sean Timms did Southern Empire, which has some fantastic releases. Their debut is great, but even their second album was really kind of a revolutionary album for me. I really loved it. Civilization, just a really underappreciated but incredible recent prog album, I think is worth checking out. And then Mark Truiak kind of worked with United Progressive Fraternity, which did a couple albums, Fall in Love with the World, and then their recent series, I think it's designed to be a two-parter, and they released the first album like about a year or two ago, and the new one should be coming out. So they have albums coming out. Southern Empire also has an album coming out in 2022 called Another World, their third album. I just saw a little blurb about it in a newsletter that I received, so I was excited to see that there's work being done on the new Southern Empire album. Sean Timms said that Southern Empire are currently putting the finishing touches to their third album entitled Another World, and encapsulates everything the planet has endured over the past 18 months. And it sounds like the new album has an epic, a 20-minute epic, and consists of 7 songs. Should be a cool release that's coming out next year. I'm excited about it. So that's one to look forward to. But even more of a bigger headline to me is they're reforming Unitopia. They're coming together, these two guys, along with a couple other guys. They've brought in Steve Unruh, who's, has multiple bands and, is in Samurai of Prague and Resistor, does violin and, singing and all kinds of things. He's kind of a jack of all trades, multi-instrumentalist type. And then of John Greenwood also coming on board with guitars and things. Sounds like they've been working on a new album called Seven Chambers to be released next year. The first song from that lineup was released on a remastered version of The Garden. The song's called Tears from the Garden. So they've already released the track together as this kind of new configuration. But now they're releasing a full new album coming next year. And they released a YouTube video that I want to bring to people's attention. Kind of a rough, I don't know if it's a rough mix or rough edit of kind of a track that they're working on to be considered for their next album.
Trapped between the corridors that never seem to end. I speak 1,000 words. I live my life in minor chords. Deep is the darkness before the dawn.
Yeah, please check that one out. It's a great video and kind of shows where the band may be headed. I think they're a notable band, at least for me, that it's really cool to see this happening, that they're kind of returning into this Unitopia world. The circumstances of their split was a little bit confusing to me. I don't know if it ended on bad terms or something, and they kind of just did their separate things. And kind of interestingly, United Progressive Fraternity they both had songs that they had planned for Unitopia, and some of the same songs were found on Southern Empire as were on United Progressive Fraternity. So they kind of since they both worked on these different songs, they kind of each brought them into their own respective projects. So you got to hear kind of two versions of the same songs in some respects. So I don't know. It was kind of interesting to hear those different takes on it, but cool to see that they're coming back. And, they're a great Australian band. That just incredible vocalist, incredible proggy, soundscapes and things. It's a really cool band that I want to bring some measure of attention to. So that should be cool. And then finally, the big news that came out, I just found out about it yesterday. One of my favorite groups is Thank You Scientist. They're a modern progressive band. Very, they kind of mix this alternative, but with jazz and prog influences into this kind of eclectic stew. They're very, very different, very interesting, hard to compare to anything, but definitely have a lot of styles in their kind of melting pot. Very quirky guys that do a lot of interesting things in their social media and so forth. So they have a new EP coming out, and it's exciting. It's called Plague Accommodations, coming out November 19th. It's available for pre-orders, and they released a single on Bandcamp from the upcoming EP. It's just going to be like a 20-minute EP. Kind of the opposite of their last album was kind of this giant double album, 90-minute album called Terraformer, which is one of my personal favorite albums. Really love Terraformer and thought it just really brought the band to a new level. They're really at their peak right now, in my opinion. So I'm excited to hear what they've got in store for this EP. They're gonna go on tour, pretty soon here, and so I think the EP is kind of bringing in new music to play for the tour, to kind of bring more attention to them as they prepare for this tour. So really a great group that deserves more attention. The track that they've released on Bandcamp is called Soul Diver, so I'll put a link to their Bandcamp in the description if you want to go check out that track. It's really cool. They haven't released it on different streaming services yet, I don't believe, but sounds like it should be a fun record. They're releasing it on their own record label, Flying Jengus Records. So that's kind of cool. There's tons of different configurations for pre-ordering. There's, the CD, the vinyl, the, get it with 2 shirts and with, all these different bundles and packages. So if you're a fan of Thank You Scientists, please check all that out and pre-order this new project. Should be kind of cool. They had a little weird video. I showed it to my wife and she was like almost disturbed by it, but they had a funny little promotional video that they did for the album. So you could seek that out if you want to see what that's all about. Featuring like some clips from Jimmy Fallon late night show. So really kind of interesting. They're a funny group of guys. You could tell they have a lot of sense of humor, and I appreciate that about them. So really excited to see what they've got on the table. So they have a great, interesting arrangement of musicians and styles. They have some horn players, saxophone, trumpet players, and then also some like a violinist in their group. So it kind of adds a lot of textures and sounds, and just really exciting to hear that they're coming out with anything new. I kind of wish it was a full-length album in some respects, which I'm sure they'll get to when it's appropriate. But, any material is good material. So excited for that to drop at some, on that November date, November 19th. So yeah, that's the main news I had today. Hopefully you guys appreciated some of those items. Basically for the channel, I talked about the 100th episode that's coming up about week and a half to 2 weeks away. So I'm excited about that, trying to bring up some excitement so I get some feedback and some comments and some questions like I was saying at the beginning. This past week, me and Jenna did a great reaction to Arion, The Day That the World Breaks Down. It got a lot of attention. I was pretty surprised and pretty happy. There's been a lot of people commenting and a lot of people watching that one. We had a lot of fun doing it. Got a negative comment for the first time in a while, but it's okay. We're not for everyone. I know sometimes we can be a little bit over the top in our, we joke a lot, we have fun, we laugh a lot, me and Jana, and some people probably don't like that and treat music a lot more seriously. I mean, we do seriously listen and really give our honest critiques about it, but we also try to have a good time doing our show and have fun with it. And a lot of people seem to respect and appreciate that, but there's those couple people who just, they come on board and they're just like, this is, why do you guys banter so much? You have all these in-jokes that I don't even like, just get to the music, so forth and so on. So we're trying our best, and we're trying to kind of do a style that works for most people, but there's going to be those people out there that don't like that. But anyways, I probably shouldn't comment too much about that. But yeah, like I was saying, that kind of boosted me a little bit with some added subscribers. So I'm grateful for the new subscribers on board. Trying, like I said, to get to that 1,000 subscribers mark, because I think that would be a good little landmark for the channel. I also did a new music shuffle show where I reviewed several new albums. It got a lot of good comments as well. I was really appreciative for people commenting about it in that video. Covered Small Tape and the new album Hungry Heart in there, which is one I've really been loving. Tillerson Rheingold Taranti, or TRT, and their Italian progressive rock style I covered in there, and also kind of a more jazz fusion EP record from Corey Wong and Dirty Loops, kind of a little bit different than what I usually cover, but sounds like jazz fusion is right in line with what a lot of progressive rock people love. So hopefully you'll find something to like in that. And like I said, I'm doing the Yes review this upcoming Tuesday. I'm excited to release that one. So I'll be giving my thoughts on that soon. I'm trying to listen to the album a few more times to really have a lot to say and to be able to give a deep impression. I've also been slowly working on album rankings for Yes, so it'll be interesting how it slots into the album rankings as well. I'm nervous to do that albums ranking show, to be honest, because I know that a lot of Yes fans can be a little bit divisive. Some people like certain eras and don't appreciate other eras of the band, and there's probably certain albums that just a lot of people don't like, but maybe I like it, so there's going to be a variety of opinions. I don't think I have any huge hot takes about the discography of Yes. I think my ranking's going to be pretty much what you'd expect from most Yes fans, but there might be a little bit of differentiation, some little nitpicks that people may have with my list, but it's my favorites, it's my choices, and you're allowed to have your own. So anyways, I did a ranking of Neil Morse Band albums this week as well, which I had a ton of fun doing. I'm really proud of that video. I wish it would get a little bit more views and attention. So if you haven't checked that one out yet, I suggest it if you're at all a Neil Morse fan in any way or curious about Neil Morse. I talk in depth essentially about the 4 Neil Morse Band records that have come out so far, and hope to do a ranking of more Neil Morse stuff in the future. I don't want to overdo it. I probably already have overdone my kind of bias towards Neil Morse this past month with the new album coming out of Innocence in Danger, plus this album ranking show. So maybe in a while from now I can do more rankings of his solo work, and also Spock's Beard, Transatlantic, all of that stuff that he's been involved in. So just really fun, having a lot of fun doing these shows. Hopefully that's coming across to you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying my content, and please let me know in the comments what you've been enjoying and what kind of new items that you're excited about, what's happening in the world of prog that you're looking forward to. I always love the excitement and people kind of building that up. So thank you guys so much, as always, for your support of me, for the likes, for the views, for the subscribes, all of that stuff. If you like what I'm doing and haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. I would appreciate it. It would help me reach that goal that I'm trying to reach. And just keep enjoying the music. I really want to emphasize that all the time, that there's so much music out there to be enjoyed. Focus on the good. Focus on the music you like. And that's what I try to do. Focus on the positive. So thank you guys so much, and hopefully I'll see you in another video. Bye.